I made it very short, so I don't want to bore you, So I wanted to make it very short. So the conclusion part I want to read because that will be that is important. So the conclusion part is always important. So let me read from my paper. The revolution in Bangladesh in 2024 is an interesting study in regional geopolitics for political scientists and historians. India has continuously behaved like an aggressive regional hegemonic power since the subcontinent was partitioned in 1947, giving birth to the Hindu majority independent state of India and the Muslim majority independent state of Pakistan. Although India was successful in bifurcating Pakistan, but in the process, it gave rise to another Muslim majority country at its eastern border. So that went against Indian interest to create another Muslim majority country at its border. New Delhi devised a strategy over time to install a subservient government in Dhaka by manipulating the military and civil administration in the country. So India did manipulate both military and civil administration and judiciary in Bangladesh to establish its hegemonic control. Indian government used to project Hasina-led Bangladesh as one of its shining foreign policy successes. Modi ignored the fact that popular anger was brewing against draconian rule of his puppet. Young people resented that their right of franchise was denied and civic space drastically curtailed. India ignored the reality and blindly backed Hasina to the exclusion of everyone else without any plan B. Now the regional giant is left to sulk and lick its wound. I hope that Indian leadership will accept the failure in its foreign policy doctrine with humility to give some time for introspection. After all, Bangladesh is only the last in the list of many major geopolitical failures of India in South Asia. Buoyed by the electoral success of extremist Hindu majoritarian politics, the current arrogant regime in Delhi has alienated all its neighbors. India has become out of touch with public sentiment in the region and now facing the inevitable backlash. The regional giant has lost its influence over Bangladesh, Maldives, Nepal, and Sri Lanka over the last 2 decades. It is unfortunate that in the aftermath of the revolution in Dhaka, the reaction from the has not been conducive for rapprochement in order to develop a healthy bilateral relationship. There has been a total failure by the policymakers in India to comprehend the long-held genuine grievances against the puppet and repressive regime of Sheikh Hasina in Bangladesh. Delhi's insistence on various conspiracy theories and playing minority card demonstrates its total failure to grasp the complexity of the situation. The Indian government underestimated the extent of people's organic resentment against Delhi for its unflinching support to an undemocratic and brutally autocratic regime for so long. It is now crucial for India to acknowledge that its ostrich policy in support of a hated regime in its eastern neighborhood has failed. The populist Hindu nationalist policy of Narendra Modi may have paid dividend in domestic politics, but has caused serious harm in regards to regional interests. I would conclude by noting that India has behaved like a colonial master in the affairs of Bangladesh from January 2009 to August 2024, when Sheikh Hasina fled to Delhi under an undisclosed arrangement with Bangladesh Army and Indian deep state. With the departure of Hasina, 1.5 decades of complete hegemonic control of India over Bangladesh has finally come to an end. Political shift in Bangladesh could now force India to change its hegemonic approach in the region. Delhi must accept the uncomfortable truth that strong anti-India sentiment gradually brewed among the large section of the population of Bangladesh during the last 15 years because of the widespread perception of Indian hand in keeping Hasina in power without democratic mandate. Under the prevailing uncertain and evolving geopolitical situation, India needs to change its self-perception from that of a dominant hegemon to a well-intentioned leader in South Asia, a region as a natural leader with the acceptance of all intra and extra-regional actors. The July revolution in Bangladesh can also be an eye-opener This is for the Islamic world. My last line is for the Islamic world. The July revolution in Bangladesh can also be an eye-opener for other autocratic rulers in the Islamic world that it may be a matter of time before the persecuted General Mosque can unite, revolt, and unseat puppet governments of foreign powers. Thank you very much.
I value the freedom of others around the world. So in that regard, what I say today represents only my views, not those of my organizations, and certainly not those of the United States government. The first point I want to make, again, I think is an obvious one, but it bears repeating. The July Revolution was not a product of any foreign regime or any foreign deep state. The revolution of Bangladesh was born, flourished, and succeeded here because of the work of the people of Bangladesh. Now, it's hard to prove a negative. I can give convincing proof to the skeptics that the United States or foreign countries did not do something. But I challenge those who promote these conspiracy theories to provide evidence to the contrary. To date, I've seen none. So my position on this is that there is absolutely no evidence to prove a foreign hand in the revolution of July 2024. I also want to note that just as the revolution was a mass movement here, as was outlined by the previous speaker very eloquently, globally, the support for the revolution came from a diverse set of individuals. Some were, like me, friends of Bangladesh, but many were members of the Bangladeshi diaspora. And I'm very proud that one of my good friends, Syed Badrul Alam, is here with me today. One of the leading diaspora voices in the northeastern part of the United States, based outside of Boston, and a colleague of mine with the organization Right to Freedom. I believe the global diaspora played a critical role in mobilizing international public opinion during the revolution. That said, after the revolution succeeded, I do not believe Bangladesh, and particularly the interim government, was prepared for the relentless attack that came, both an information war and broader destabilization efforts that began very soon after the revolution and continue today. So the impetus for the revolution came because of economic factors, the desire for people to have a better life, the desire of young people to have jobs and economic opportunities. I believe that the global private sector is an important component of building Bangladesh 2.0. Bangladesh needs to attract foreign investment in order to help create these jobs and opportunities. That said, the global private sector will make decisions about investment and trade opportunities based on economics, not politics. Bangladesh's current government and its successors will need to focus on ways to attract this investment. I also want to caution that those who want to turn back the clock, those supporters of the previous regime and their beneficiaries, understand or are beginning to understand how the revolution took place, and they're likely to replicate the tactics of those who were successful in overthrowing the regime last year.